Ladies and gentlemen, I call this regular meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch Independent School District Board of Trustees to order at 7:08 p.m. on Thursday, June the 1st. I apologize for being 8 minutes late than normal, but we had a whole lot of people to feed back here, including myself, and I'm a slow eater, so we're good. At this time, would you please join me in standing as Pastor Ricky Primrose of the MacArthur Boulevard Baptist Church leads us in the board's opening prayer, and remain standing as Board Member Randy Shackman leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and Board Member Richard Fleming leads us in the Texas Flag Pledge. Pastor Primrose.
Let's pray. Well, Father God, we come to you tonight, and before we launch into a full agenda for this evening, we want to pause and we want to acknowledge our need for you and our dependency upon you. Lord, we ask that you would be gracious to us tonight, that you would give us favor, that you would give us clarity, that you would give us wisdom. Lord, we pray that you would providentially lead the meeting tonight according to your perfect plan for our schools and for our community, Lord. Lord, I want to pray specifically for this board of trustees here tonight, Lord. I want to pray that you would fill their hearts with the love of Christ, that you would enable them and empower them to love you with all of their hearts, soul, and minds, and that you would give them the love of Christ for all people. Lord, I pray that you would give them wisdom and prudence and skill in this important responsibility that they have. Lord, I pray that your hand of favor would be upon them and that you would fill them with the spirit of wisdom. Lord, I want to just pray for all of the teachers and principals and faculty that's here tonight and that's in all of the schools that are within this district, Lord. I just thank you so much for them, and I pray your hand of favor and blessing on them, Lord. I pray that you would fill their hearts with the love of Christ. I pray, Lord, that you would give them joy in the significant assignment and responsibilities that you have entrusted to them. Lord, that they would not serve our children out of a sense of burden, but from a place of joy, and that the passion that you have given them for the next generation would not be one that would wane, but would be one that would grow year after year, that you would give them endurance in their calling, that you would give them wisdom, insight, and skill in the assignments that you have given them. And of course, Lord, we pray your blessing and favor over all of the schools in this district and over the children within those schools. Lord, I pray for your kingdom to come in the lives of those children. Lord, I pray that your hand of protection will be upon our schools. Lord, that you would protect our children physically, emotionally, and spiritually within their homes and within our schools, Lord. I pray that you will enable these children to discern the perfect plan that you have for their lives and that you would lead them to embrace that plan, Lord. So, Lord, in every way, we acknowledge our need for you, and we ask for your favor. We ask for your blessing. We ask for your leadership. And, Lord, we thank you for all of the blessings and provisions and the protection and opportunities that you have given us. So, Lord, we submit this time to you, and we pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. I still pledge allegiance to you. No problem.
Hey, Bobby, you like that?
That's okay. As a district, ladies and gentlemen, we dedicate all our efforts and resources to our goal of high achievement for each student. The board uses this goal to guide all deliberations, decisions, and actions. You will get to see all deliberations, decisions, and actions of the board in open session, with the exception of some items which may be discussed in a closed session, as stipulated in the Texas Government Code, Section 551, commonly known as the Open Meetings Law. These items typically deal with personnel matters, consultation with our attorney, and real estate. For the record, the board members present are Randy Shackman, Richard Fleming, myself, John Matthews, Nancy Klein, and Guillermo Ramos. Our board member-elect members present are Candace Valenzuela and Tara Hrabachik. We do constitute a quorum and can conduct business for the district. As required by Board Policy BBD Local, let the minutes reflect that all board members, with the exceptions of our 2 board-elect members, have exceeded or met or exceeded the number of continuing education training hours required for 2016. And I can promise you, our 2 board-elect members will get those hours pretty quick. Okay, number 2, on May 17th, 2017, the results of the school board general and special elections held on May the 6th were canvassed. Under the district's new cumulative voting process, Nancy Klein and Candace Valenzuela were elected to the board for 3-year terms. Tara Hrabachik was elected to the board for the remaining 2 years of a 3-year term. Each has been issued a certificate of election and has completed the required statement of officer. Justice Gary Blanchett joins us tonight to present to administer the oath of office to these ladies. Mr. Blanchett, will you please join our recently elected members at the front of the room?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While they're coming, I would like to make a statement, if I could. It's my great privilege and honor to be able to lead this swearing in today. And I want you all to recognize the fact that a lot of times you see these kinds of things, and sometimes you think, well, this is just merely a high ceremonial type of a thing that's being done. But actually, not only is it a legal ceremonial process to be done, but it's also done because it represents the very best that our democracy has to offer to begin with. To battle for the office that we have in our country as a democracy, we settle on this. The battle is done with ballots, not bullets. And the next thing is the fact that the smooth transition of office and the assumption of the powers that they have here is also a great testament of our democracy, that it's done by the reciting of words, not by the inciting of violence. So I hope you'll recognize this tonight as we take this opportunity for them to transition from elected candidates to actually elected officials by this action. So thank you very much for that. And I would ask Ms. Klein, if you come forward. Put on my glasses here so I can do this. Ms. Klein, if you will raise your right hand, and if you'll state your name, I
I, Nancy Klein,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD School Board Trustee
of Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD School Board Trustee
of the State of
of
Texas,
the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
the Constitution of the United States and the laws of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Mr. Boccic, good to see you. I, please state your name,
I, Tara Hrabachik,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD School Board Trustee
of Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD School Board Trustee
for the state of Texas,
for the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Ms. Valenzuela, how you doing?
Hello.
I, please state your name,
I, Candace Hope Valenzuela,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD School Board Trustee
of Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD School Board Trustee
for the state of Texas,
for the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Blanchett. Appreciate you being here. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed to agenda item number 3, board reorganization. Ladies and gentlemen, under board policy BDAA legal, the board is to organize by selecting a president, vice president, secretary, and assistant secretary. I will turn the gavel over to Superintendent Burns to conduct the election of the president first. The new president then will conduct the selection of the other officers. Dr. Burns.
I will now open the floor for nominations to the position of President of the Board of Trustees for Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD. Ms. Klein.
Burns, I would like to nominate John Matthews.
Under Robert's Rules of Order, our parliamentary procedures, no second is required for nominations. However, are there any other nominations for Board President?
Dr. Burns? Appreciate all that Mr. Matthews has done and an excellent job this last year. It is highly likely that this will be the last year that Mr. Fleming is going to be on our board. He's not had a chance to serve, and I'd love to see us have an African-American president, so I'm going to nominate Richard Fleming to be president of the board.
Again, nominations do not require a second. However, are there any other nominations for the office of Board President? Okay. Seeing no other nominations, we'll consider the nominations closed, and now we will take a vote on each nomination. First nomination, board members. All those in favor of John Matthews in the office of Board President, please signify by raising your hand. Okay. I have 4 votes for Mr. Matthews. Our second nomination, Mr. Fleming. All those in favor of Mr. Fleming as serving as Board President, please raise your hand. And we have 3 votes. By my determination, my math, Mr. Matthews, congratulations. You are the Board President of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch School District. And now I will turn this back over to you.
Okay, board members, I now open the floor for nominations to the position of Vice President of the Board of Trustees. Are there any nominations for Board Vice President from the floor? Mr. Ramos?
We've had so much change over the last year with the passing of Frank Shore. And for that reason, I feel that this board needs some continuity. And it's nothing against anybody else on this board, but I really do want some sort of continuity. And for that reason, I'm going to nominate Nancy Klein as Vice President.
We have Nancy Klein being nominated. Are there any other nominations for vice president?
Sure.
Mr. Fleming?
I echo the same sentiments that Mr. Ramos suggested, and so I'm going to nominate Mr. Randy Shackman for vice president.
Okay, we have Mr. Shackman nominated. Any other nominations, board members? Okay, we will take each nominee separately. All those in favor of Nancy Klein for board vice president indicate by raising your hand. I have 5 votes for Ms. Klein. All those in favor of Mr. Fleming?
No,
Right.
Mr. Shackman.
I'm sorry. All those in favor of Mr. Fleming's nomination of Mr. Shackman? Signify by raising your hand. We have 2 for Mr. Shackman. By my math, which I know a little more than it's the first 4 letters of my last name, Ms. Klein will be our new vice president. I now open the board for nominations to the position of board secretary. Are there any nominations for board secretary from the floor? Ms. Klein?
In a spirit of continuity for Mr. Ramos, who's been the secretary for 1 year, I would nominate him to be the secretary for a 2nd year.
Okay, we have a nomination from Mr. Guillermo Ramos for secretary. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor of Mr. Ramos signify that by raising your hand. That vote is unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Ramos. We now open the floor for nominations to the position of Board Assistant Secretary. Under Robert's Rules of Order, say that fast 5 times. No second is required for nominations. Are there any nominations for Board Assistant Secretary from the floor?
Mr. Matthews, can you nominate yourself?
Can you nominate yourself?
Just asking.
Yes, you can, as a matter of fact.
I was just
Yes.
curious.
Yes, you can. That's right.
Me. It's a rigorous position. Someone thinks I'm funny.
Mr. Matthews,
Mr. Shackman.
let me burst the bubble of anxiety here and nominate Nancy Klein in the spirit of continuity.
Nancy's already been elected vice president. She can't do both.
That's true. All right, Richard Fleming for assistant secretary.
Tara Horacek.
I'll nominate Randy Shackman.
Okay.
Richard,
I will accept your nomination. If we can get on to the meeting.
Okay.
Got a nomination from Tara for.
We have a nomination from Tara for Mr. Shackman as assistant secretary. And did you decline that?
No, it was only 1 nomination.
Okay, well, okay. All right. All those in favor of Mr. Shackman being our assistant secretary of the board, signify that by raising your hand. That vote is unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Shackman. We will now proceed with agenda item number 4A, student achievement presentation. And this would be a good one, folks. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews, and members of the board, audience, welcome. We have started a tradition in this district to make the main thing the first thing, and the first thing on our minds is always student achievement, as you heard our goal earlier. And so tonight we conclude our 16-17 board meetings. As you know, we're July to June calendar. So we conclude tonight with the third piece of what we consider the most valuable ingredient three ingredients that are so valuable to student achievement, and that's, of course, academic programming, a rigorous fine arts opportunities, as well as athletics and activities. So we conclude tonight talking about student achievement with athletics and activity, and its so vital importance to our goal of high achievement for each student. Ms. Warnock.
Thank you, Dr. Burns. It is so fitting tonight as we welcome our new board members and we think about the contribution that Mr. Shore made as our board president as a fierce advocate for fitness and activity and health. And he led that charge and also with the support of our other board members. The research is irrefutable about the impact of healthy bodies on healthy minds. So we know that as we have fitness that brings blood to our brains, it does great things for our brains, it gets us up and moving, it impacts our academics, our learning environment, and we're so pleased to have excellent athletic programs in this district. We're really proud of the accomplishments and of the incredible dedication of the staff members who spend countless hours mentoring and supporting young athletes in our district. So we want to thank the staff that are here tonight, and I know that they'll be introduced as we welcome Renee Putter, our Director of Athletics, PE, and Health, to the podium. Ms. Putter?
Good evening, Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, and members of the board. It's my honor to be here as the Director of Athletics, Health, and PE to celebrate with you all our year in athletics through physical activity. Just as physical exercise is a well-known and well-accepted means to improve health for everyone, regardless of age or background, so can the brain be put into shape for optimal learning. Through athletics and physical education, over 25,000 students in CFB ISD uses their minds and bodies, which are stimulated through physical activity every day. Through physical exercise, the brain retains more information, therefore creating better learners in the classroom, on the field of play, and throughout life. Tonight you will see high achievement for each student athlete as we share our celebrations in the form of a video. However, before we begin our video presentation, I would like to introduce some people who are here representing athletics. From our middle schools and our high school athletic coordinators who are here with us tonight, I gave the rest of the 190 coaches the night off, or else we would not have any room for everyone else in here. From Blaylock, please stand, Tucker West. Bush Middle School, Derek Holsebus. Field Middle School, Chase Marrier. Long Middle School, Tyrone Larkins. Perry Middle School, Jimmy Fellbaum. And from Polk Middle School, Jack Holt could not be with us tonight. From our high schools, from Creekview High School, Jay Klein. From Newman Smith, Paul Ressa. From Newman Smith, Christine Gregory. From Ranchview, Terry Smith. And from R.L. Turner, J.C. Hamlin. And from R.L. Turner, Michael Ramirez could not be with us tonight. Also here tonight, we have our Coach of the Years. We actually have 9 of them, but we have 3 that are here with us tonight. I would like to introduce to you our State Assistant Coach of the Year from UIL is our Assistant Wrestling Coach from Creekview, John Johnson. From Creekview, our head coach, Sean Kitchens, is the Region 3 Head Wrestling UIL Coach of the Year. And we also have Angela Taylor to my left. She is our 10-4A Volleyball Coach of the Year. I would also like to thank my staff, Lynn Scifo, Eric Cruz, who is not with us tonight, Stephen Kaysen, who is not with us tonight, Roberta Poorman, who is with us tonight, for all their hard work and lending a hand to me every day in athletics, helping athletics and PE shine. Their attention to detail and customer service is top-notch. I know you're thinking I forgot about Angela, but I didn't. Lastly, I would like to thank my right-hand man, and that is Angela Taylor. She's been with me for 10 years, and she's leaving me. She is going to another district for administration, and I wish her well. She's going to do great. Angela has worked hard with all data in our department. She works on our video. She gathers all the information and does all the other jobs that is just too much on my plate to handle. She is going to be greatly missed in our department. So Angela, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. I would be remiss if I did not thank one more very special person, and that is a person who lends his expertise to our video every year, his voice, and that is Jason Wheeler, who is behind the glass. So Jason, thank you, thank you, thank you. He is waving back there. So, members of the board, administration, fans out there of all sporting events and physical activity, I now present you with our video. Please enjoy.
In CFB ISD, 25,235 students do some type of physical activity every day through either physical education class or athletics. Participation in moderate to vigorous activity stimulates the mind while learning. This can improve grade point average, educational aspirations, peer and family relationships, self-worth, and our own CFB graduation rate. Active students go on to become successful leaders in our communities, complete post-secondary education goals, and become outstanding professionals across our great nation. Some even return to CFB ISD to teach and coach, bringing back a rich knowledge base to our students and athletes. Currently, 4,306 student athletes in grades 7th through 12th grade participate in one or more sports. These athletes are enrolled in 7,511 pre-AP and AP classes, averaging a GPA of 3.3 and higher. 183 CFB ISD athletes were offered 379 scholarships, totaling $19,063,211. Without the educational and athletic opportunities offered by our school district to create a well-rounded student, our scholarship recipients may not have been able to continue on with their educational goal of attending college. In addition, 94% of these athletes achieve 4 or more levels within their healthy fitness zones during their annual fitness gram assessment, further validating that physically active students are better learners in the classroom. The CFB ISD athletic goal is high achievement for each student. Whether on the field, court, pool, track, or in the classroom, our athletes give back to the community each year. This year is no different, with 54 sports teams from a variety of CFB schools, made a difference in the lives of our community stakeholders by completing 78 service projects. Athletes and coaches donated their time to give back to the community who embraced them through this year of celebrations. These are just a few of the service projects completed throughout the year. Food preparation and delivery for Joe's Pizza annual Thanksgiving Day dinner. PTSA garage sale. Snowball Express. Jump rope, hoops for heart. Girl Scout cookie distribution with the American Legion. Tee Off for Hunger, canned food drives to fill the Metro Relief Storehouse and Bees Kids. Swing to Survive, pink out games for cancer survivors. Elementary mentoring and reading programs. Keller Springs Park Cleanup Project and 4th Annual Carrollton Creek Cleanup. The MLK Parade. Veterans Day programs, Bags for Soldiers. Dignity Dash. Campus beautification projects. Casey's Run. Free Community League sports clinics and combines in youth football, basketball, soccer, softball, and baseball. Moving from the community back into the classroom, the academic success of our athletes continued for another award-winning year. 83 student athletes were academic all-district, and 77 achieved academic all-state recognition. Behind every athlete and team is a great teacher. This year, 9 coaches were named Coach of the Year. From Creekview, John Johnson was the UIL State Assistant Boys Wrestling Coach of the Year. Sean Kitchen, Head Wrestling Coach, was the 9-5A District Coach of the Year, as well as the Region 3 Head Boys Wrestling Coach of the Year. From Ranchview, Michael Kuban, Tennis Coach of the Year for 10-4A Team Tennis. Kevin Kelson, Coach of the Year for 10-4A Golf. Angela Taylor, Coach of the Year for 10-4A Volleyball. Jared Garcia, Coach of the Year for 9-4A Boys Soccer. Ty Wilkerson, Coach of the Year for 10-4A Softball. And Mark Garza, Coach of the Year for 10-4A Baseball. From R.L. Turner, Marshall Houston, Coach of the Year for 14-5A Boys Soccer. Congratulations to our elite coaches. The celebrations continue with team sports. This year, we have 207 all-district athletes from 25 playoff teams, with 10 of those teams being district champions in the sports of volleyball, girls basketball, wrestling, boys and girls soccer, team tennis, golf, softball, and baseball. 5 teams were by-district champions: Creekview Boys Basketball, Ranchview Girls Basketball, Creekview Girls Soccer, Ranchview Boys and Girls Soccer. 8 teams were by-district finalists: Creekview and Ranchview Volleyball, Ranchview Football, Creekview, Newman Smith, and Turner Boys Soccer, Ranchview Baseball, and Softball. 5 teams were area champions: Creekview Boys Basketball, Ranchview Girls Basketball, Team Tennis, and Boys and Girls Soccer. 1 team was an area finalist: Creekview Girls Soccer. 2 teams were regional quarterfinalists: Creekview Boys Basketball, Ranchview Girls Soccer. 4 teams were regional finalists: Ranchview Girls Basketball, Ranchview Team Tennis, Ranchview Boys Soccer, and Ranchview Golf. 1 team was a regional runner-up: Turner Boys Wrestling. 1 team was regional champions: Creekview Boys Wrestling. 4 teams were team state qualifiers: Creekview, Newman Smith, Ranchview, and Turner cheer teams. and CFB ISD had 108 individual regional qualifiers in the sports of swimming and diving, tennis, golf, wrestling, powerlifting, and track and field. The ultimate goal in sports is to become a champion. CFB ISD had 33 state qualifiers in the sports of swimming, wrestling, golf, powerlifting, and track and field, which produced 10 state placers. Congratulations to all of our state placers. CFB ISD prides itself with having athletic opportunities for each student. We are very fortunate to have 284 Special Olympians in the sports of bowling and track and field who compete every day to do their best. As the torch passes from year to year, our Olympians possess grit, resiliency, and empowerment as they bring home the gold to CFB ISD. CFB ISD Athletics supports the district's goal of high achievement for each student. Fitness activities have impacted the learning and success of our athletes. CFB ISD offers an educational pathway in sports that has laid a foundation from middle school onto high school, as it has opened doors for many of our students to succeed in the classroom, on the field, and at the next level. The tradition of our alumni continues as they move forward in their athletic success in college, on professional sports teams, as they make their way to become an Olympic gold medalist. We are very proud of our alumni for taking their success here at CFB to an elite level. As we look to the next year, our coaches and athletes are working hard as we continue to compete and make CFB ISD proud. As our year comes to a close, we congratulate all of our students athletes on their high achievement for the 2016-2017 school year. On behalf of the athletes and coaches who give 100% of mental toughness and extra effort every day, we thank you for your support.
Dr. Burns, members of the Board of Trustees, as you can see, the goal of high achievement for each student is alive and well and being realized in our athletic programs. We want to congratulate again and thank the coaches for their countless hours of dedication that they put into serving our students. They really, in addition to their teaching responsibilities, spend hundreds of hours in pursuit of excellence and mentorship for our young athletes. So thank you to our staff who are here. That concludes our presentation.
Warnock. Thank you, Ms. Potter. Board members, do you have any comments or questions? Hearing none, seeing none. At this time, we will proceed with item number 5, and I'll turn the meeting over to Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Another standing agenda item for this board for many, many years is to, after we recognize student achievement, we talk about recognizing our staff members. During the course of the year, we do a program called Very Important Professionals, and tonight we do another program called Making the Vision Possible, also called Most Valuable People, to help make that vision possible. It's about celebrating the work that our staff does in every position to help us achieve our goal. And we talk about teamwork makes the dream work, and it happens at every level. And we're so fortunate that we have a hardworking team that no matter what their job, their goal is high achievement for each student. And so tonight we're going to honor some of those special people who we call making the vision possible. And their supervisors or the people that they work with and for are going to tell you a little bit about them and why they were selected tonight. Number one reason is going to be that teamwork. But also we'd like for family members here present to stand when your MVP, that just sounds good, doesn't it? MVP. When your MVP is introduced, we'd like for you to stand in recognition and celebration of their accomplishments tonight. And so at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Matthews to join me in the front as we greet these MVPs.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Dr. Burns. My name is Kim Chow Jackson, Principal at Blair Elementary. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce to you our newest MVP, Jackie Arnold. Let me take you guys back a little bit. The year was 1989. A gallon of gas was $1.12. Some of the top songs were Look Away by Chicago, Straight Up by Paula Abdul, Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler, and Girl, You Know It's True by Milli Vanilli. This was also the year that Jackie Arnold began her career in Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD. Jackie began as an attendance clerk at Montgomery Elementary. Also at Montgomery, she served as a CM aide and then secretary starting in 2001. She then moved into Blair in 2002. After 28 years in CFB and all at Montgomery and Blair, Jackie is retiring this year. She has served thousands of students, families, teachers, and staff members while in CFB. For her retirement party, we asked the staff to send some words that describe Jackie because we wanted to make her a Wordle. The words used to describe Jackie were patient, caring, reliable, efficient, thoughtful. The list goes on and on. One word that described Jackie that stood out to me was essential. Jackie has been essential and vital to Blair Elementary and to CFB. She has been an amazing secretary, but more importantly, a phenomenal friend. She goes out of her way to ensure that you are taken care of, and she does so with a smile and kindness. Anytime I've asked Jackie to do anything, she would do it completely and with accuracy and speed. She is the epitome of a remarkable secretary. The Arnold family is also a CFB family. Jackie attended DeWitt Perry Junior High, back when it was called Junior High, and graduated from Arnold Turner High School. Don't worry, Jackie, I'm not mentioning years. All three of her children who are here tonight, Karen, Christy, and Kevin, also graduated from CFB schools. Kevin's wife, Tori, also is a CFB graduate from Arnold Turner. Her granddaughter, Kelsey, attends Davis Elementary. Her sister, Kathy Webb, which I'm sure many did not know that Kathy Webb is her sister, is also an integral part of our district. Her brother, Roger, who is here tonight as well, is also a CFB grad. The list goes on and on. So Hoyt is the only one that isn't, but he has been CFBized. He has definitely been CFBized because the Arnold family has spent numerous hours as volunteers at many Blair events. From ticket sales to school supply sales, they have been at many, many, many events at Blair Elementary, and we thank them for that. I am certain that her personal family, as well as her Blair family, is extremely proud of Jackie Arnold and everything that she has done for our district. We are grateful for you, Jackie. And tonight we honor you and congratulate you for being inducted into the MVP program for making the vision possible.
Maybe I have to turn it on. Maybe that's how it gets on. So, President Matthews, members of the board, Dr. Burns, the ESDC family would like to recognize Blanca Cruz as our MVP. As Dr. Burns says, if you want to motivate others, be motivated. If you want to inspire others, be inspired. This quotation exemplifies how Blanca conducts herself at all times and why she truly does make the vision possible in CFB. Blanca embodies the CFB culture of I care and is the backbone of the ESDC. For 21 years, Blanca has not only done her job and countless other things that we ask her to do, but always with a smile, no matter the task at hand. Blanca goes above and beyond and is able to handle all work efficiently and effectively. She approaches her job with the highest quality of professionalism, whether it's reorganizing rooms for a last-minute training, and no, we don't do that, but, or lending a helping hand to the presenters as they come to our building with training materials, or just attending to our many requests. She got me, when I had a sore throat the other day, she went and got some honey for me and brought it in. So she takes care of us all the time. Blanca is always there to meet our needs. Several co-workers shared the following about Blanca. Blanca's work ethic is admirable. She is one of the hardest working people we know. She is a joy to be around. She is sure to greet you with a beautiful smile and a happy tune. I hear her singing in the lounge. She has a servant heart and is always up to the task of lending a helping hand, even at the end of her day. While it may seem that Blanca is always working, she does enjoy her vacation time. She has traveled to Thailand, Rome, Jerusalem, and on June 9th, she is headed to Honduras. Blanca demonstrates one of the most important traits for success, how you treat people. She is humble, authentic, and devoted to helping those around her. And we are very fortunate to have her as a friend and a colleague in CFB, and she is our MVP.
Mr. Matthews, Dr. Burns, members of the board, I'm Mark Lugge, the electrical department head, and I'm honored and privileged tonight on behalf of the maintenance department to honor Jim Yank as our most valuable player. I have personally worked with Jim for over 15 years, and I've witnessed firsthand Jim's dedication and devotion to the district. For almost 20 years now, Jim has always performed his duties with great pride and professionalism, always ensuring that each and every job is completed to a higher standard than which is set by the National Code Book. Jim is my right-hand man, who I've always relied upon not only to carry out his duties as the electrical department lead, but to take care of my own departmental responsibilities when I am unavailable. Jim's decision to study for the Master Electrician's Test back in early 2005 also inspired me to advance my own capabilities and qualifications and to devote time and attention to acquiring the knowledge needed to take and pass the master's test myself. In a sense, I owe him for that. For if not for him, I'm not sure if I would be where I am today. That is not only one example of Jim's ability to inspire others, he has also helped several others study for their exam as well. Jim is an exceptional, skilled electrician with decades of experience who's routinely sought after by all of the electricians in the district for assistance and guidance to resolve the most complicated problems that arise. Jim is also a fellow veteran who served in Vietnam while in the Air Force. So as you can tell, we definitely could not make the vision possible without positive CFB team players like Jim Yank.
Good evening, Dr. Burns, President Matthews, and our board members. My name's Kelly O'Sullivan. I'm the proud principal at Ted Polk Middle School. It is my honor to present our newest MVP, Miss Karen Hester. Karen strives to make the vision possible for Polk and CFB every day. Maya Angelou is quoted as saying, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." This quote came to life when I arrived at Polk last August and began working with Karen Hester. She is the epitome of kindness, true customer service, and the ideal team player. Karen has been a part of the Polk family for 10 years. When students, parents, community members, and district staff visit Polk, their first stop is Karen. She is the go-to hub for our campus. Daily occurrences include welcoming visitors, gathering information for the dozens of people that huddle around the counter, asking for assistance, and she's greeting everyone with a smile. While she's retrieving a student's skateboard who kept it with her for safekeeping during the school day, printing temporary ID badges, quickly looking up a student's class because they're already late for their dentist appointment, checking in visitors, signing out students, helping a distraught student find their lost house key. Each person feels cared for and important. When asking our Polk teammates to describe Karen, Ms. Park said, "She is the most genuine, humble person I know. She will do anything to help." Ms. McClure and Ms. Morgan said Karen is the most patient, caring, and kind person we know. She is always willing to help out with any situation, sometimes not pretty situations, but she always has a smile on her face. Karen received the iCare Customer Service Award this year due to parents and community also recognizing and appreciating her helpful and positive disposition. Although we like to believe we have a monopoly on Ms. Hester, it is evident that her family feels the same way. Karen's family is her why. She lights up when talking about her husband Pat and her children Emily and Derek, whether it's her son's baseball games and being home from college for the summer, her trip to New York to celebrate her daughter's graduation, or just her family's weekend plans. It's apparent that putting others first is a way of life. Karen strives every day to provide the interactions she would want for her own family. As I come to the end of my first year at Polk, I cannot imagine having not had the special gift that is Karen Hester. She stepped in to help out daily when we did not have a secretary, to help train temporary secretaries also. Teachers and staff naturally gravitate to Karen as she is a source of reassurance, support, and knowledge of how to get things done. She works diligently and tirelessly every day, but finds time to always share encouraging words and to lift others up along the way. For all these reasons, Ted Polk and CFB are indeed fortunate to have Miss Karen Hester as the MVP.
Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, Board of Trustees, friends and families, members, we're honored to be here tonight. My name is Gary Kerbo. I'm Director of Purchasing, and we're here tonight to introduce to you our newest member to the Making the Vision Possible team, Angela Hatchard. Ms. Hatchard found her way to Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex in 1980 by way of Canada, her native home, a boot 25 years ago. And she spent 25 years gaining experience in purchasing as a catering manager for several area hotels. Angie, as she's known to everybody, has served as a buyer in the purchasing department since August of 2014. Prior to that, she was a clerk at River Chase Elementary for 3 months, until her eyes were opened to the majesty and wonder that is the purchasing department. And she was selected to join this distinguished group. Now, in my brief time being back at CFB ISD, I've had the pleasure of getting to know all the fine folks in purchasing, but I've especially taken joy in observing how Angie goes about her daily responsibilities. Angie is a detailed, action-oriented procurement official who takes her job very seriously but goes about her business in a fun way. Those of you who have ever met or dealt with Angie know that there's never a dull moment when she is in the house, wherever that house may be. Those who deal with her from campuses and departments will tell you that Angie is responsive to their needs and quick to provide guidance and a solution to their request. Those who deal with her within the department have some observations about her as a colleague that I would like to share with you. One of her coworkers says this: "I believe Angie is very deserving of this nomination as an MVP. She has gone above and beyond in our office to help in any way she can." Another coworker says, "Angie has been very helpful during the last year and all the changes in our department. Although I could say this about each person in our department, as everyone has gone above and beyond to help keep our department running smoothly, it would have been more difficult for me without the help of Angie." And here's what another colleague had to say about our MVP nominee: "The best person I can think of to nominate for MVP would be Angie Hatchard. She is not only by far the most organized individual in this office, it would be not hard to make an argument for her being the hardest working as well. She is always willing to learn. She's always friendly, hardworking, and easy to deal with. She is not only willing to ask for help when she needs it, something many have trouble doing, but she's also just as willing to give help. She is truly a team player." And I could not said it any better. Angie goes above and beyond the call of duty and always willing to go the extra mile. In addition to fulfilling her duties as a buyer, Angie writes the monthly purchasing newsletters that informs end users of the latest information and upcoming news in the exciting and riveting arena of purchasing. She is a strong communicator and never lets a task go for a moment without getting it completed in an efficient, professional manner. Besides being a dedicated district employee and procurement official, Angie is an even more dedicated mother and grandmother, something that gains the admiration from me and her colleagues even more than her purchasing skills do. What she does for our district in the way of excellence is multiplied in how she serves her family. And it's no surprise that Angie was the overwhelming choice for our MVP nominee when put to a departmental vote. Now, Angie recently received the news of her recognition as a certified Texas school business official, awarded to her by TASBO, the Texas Association of School Business Officials. To meet this level of certification, one must take multiple courses in the area of school business and pass a test at the completion of each course. This, among the many attributes, skills, and characteristics demonstrated by Angie, are indicators of how she is making the vision possible and why CFB and the purchasing department are indeed fortunate to have Angela Hatchard as a member of the Making the Vision Possible team.
Josh, I apologize in advance. I did everything I could to talk Blanca out of those roses. She just wouldn't go for it. Mr. Matthews, Dr. Burns, members of the board, I'm Pat Hester. I'm Director of Operations for the district, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Facility Services Department to honor Officer Josh Flores as our MVP. Josh has worked for CFB for 6 years, representing our department with professionalism and dedication to make sure that our community, students, and staff are safe and that they have a resource they can depend on for anything. Josh has many responsibilities, including his campuses that he is responsible for, video camera maintenance, and he works with myself, his department head, Jack Merrill, and our crisis management team to ensure the safety and quality in our crisis plans that our clientele deserve. Dr. Kelvin Land recently stated that Josh Flores is phenomenal. He helps us organize our lunch periods and also assist students with all sorts of issues that enable us to focus our main attention, and that is high achievement for each student. Dr. Kelvin Land, the principal at Blaylock, has said that Josh is a vital member of his staff. He goes well beyond the call of duty and takes the time to get to know his students and staff. He is a tremendous help during passing periods, making sure that students move along safely in the hallways, and he is a great help in the parking lot after school, making sure it is safe for all students and parents. Personally, I have a lot of respect myself for Josh when it comes to his job. However, the thing that impresses me the most about him is that he is a loyal family man. He's been married to Imelda for 14 years, who, by the way, is a teacher at the Newman Smith High School. He has 2 children, Guy, who's a student at Blaylock, and Issa, a student at Country Place Elementary. Now hear this. Josh was in the United States Army for 10 years, attached to the Military Intelligence Unit, and spent close to a year fighting for our country in Somalia. He was an infantry soldier and was a dragon gunner. Now, I don't know what that is, and you probably... You probably have no idea what that is, and I'm kind of afraid to ask, but I'm told from some inside sources that you have to be one bad dude to operate that thing. Josh has spent the last 22 years also as the front man for Cara Bali Dallas, a prominent local Latin band that is featured all over the Dallas area. So as you can see, we are honoring a very talented, loyal, hardworking staff member tonight, and it gives me great pleasure to add Josh Flores, along with all of these other outstanding staff members, as our person that makes the vision possible. Josh Flores.
Mr. Matthews, Dr. Burns, members of the board, and guests. I'm Rochelle Sharon, Director of Student Nutrition, and tonight I have the distinct privilege to recognize Student Nutrition's MVP, Maribel Morin. In statistics, an outlier is an element of a data set that distinctly stands out from the rest. Clearly, Maribel Morin is an outlier in our department and our community. Maribel joined the student nutrition family in the spring of 2005, and for the past 12 years has been making a significant contribution to our district. She is deeply rooted in our community and district, as she has a son who is currently a freshman at Turner High School, and a lovely daughter who previously graduated from Turner and is now attending Texas State at San Marcos. Maribel has spent most of her career at Stark and McLaughlin Elementary serving our students, and at one point was responsible for transporting all of the food from McLaughlin to the district's first pre-K center that was across the street. Believe me when I say there is a correlation between Maribel's exceptional customer service skills and serving a whole building of timid pre-K students on time. Through the years, it's been apparent that Maribel is not the average employee. Her performance feedback is riddled with comments from supervisors that demonstrate her consistent, outstanding performance. And I'd like to quote a few. Maribel is an exceptional cashier. She encourages the students to make healthy choices. She's always willing to help others and builds positive relationships. One manager stated, "She's my right hand, always flexible and a great team member." Another one, Maribel is never late and always at work and trustworthy. But one supervisor summed it up best by saying, "Maribel is a 5-star employee." And I believe that evaluation instrument only went to 3. So join me in honoring Maribel Morin as CFB's MVP.
Thank you, Dr. Burns.
You're welcome.
Okay, at this time, I get to talk a little bit about the things that we've just witnessed. First of all, to Coach Putter and all my brethren in the coaching fraternity, I think it goes without saying that y'all are pretty special folks to me personally. I served in your arena for 21 years. I know what it's all about. And there's no doubt in my mind, having been around here for a while, the best students at any of our schools, the finest students, year in, year out, are involved in either athletics or fine arts, without question. That's the cream of the crop in every school we have. And I can't put a number on the importance of both of those extracurricular activities. So thank you for countless hours that you put in, because I know how many of those you did. Very good presentation, Renee. And to Angela, your bub is going to miss you. Good luck. Now then, to you 7 folks, I'm so happy that a couple of years ago, we instituted this Making the Vision Possible program.
Frank Shore's idea.
I have no doubt it was Frank Shore's idea. And that's somebody that we all miss terribly. You know, we've had the VIP program for a while. Very important profession of teaching, okay? And certainly our teachers are very valuable to us. Our administrators are very valuable to us. But folks, I'm going to tell you something else from someone who spent 37 years of his life in the educational arena. There are a whole lot of other people that play just as important a role in the education of our kids. And each one of you 7 folks tonight, you weren't just picked at random by the people you work with and work for. You earned the right to be here tonight. You earned the honor that we bestowed upon you tonight. Those VIPs wouldn't be VIPs if it weren't for y'all. Y'all make the vision possible. That's what this thing is called. So thank you for all of your efforts, year in and year out, for our district. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we're moving on to the next agenda item, I'd like to remind you that the board encourages comments from citizens of the district and from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so during agenda item number 6A, Audience for Guests. Please submit your request to do so on one of the forms provided on the table just outside the boardroom door. You may place the completed form in the box out there, or you may hand it to Ms. Sharon Scribner right over here in person. When the board addresses agenda item number 6A, Audience for Guests, you will be invited to the podium to speak to the board. And now, for those of you who might have something else to do, which I hope nobody does, I hope you all stay here the rest of the night. We are going to take a brief recess. It is 8:20. We will reconvene at 8:30. Thank you. This meeting of the Carrollton-Farmers Branch ISD Board of Trustees is called back to order. The board will now address agenda item number 6A, Audience for Guests. Audience for Guests is a mechanism the board uses to receive feedback and input from our constituents. Comments should pertain to public education issues and be no longer than 3 minutes. Our timekeeper, Ms. Klein, will provide a hand signal as the end of your 3 minutes approaches. Remember that the board may not discuss or act on any issues that are not posted on our agenda for tonight's meeting. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board may defer discussion until the appropriate time during the meeting. Ms. Scribner, are there any audience for guests?
Only the 2 I have brought you up here.
All right then. I will call your name. You will go to the podium, state your name and address. First up would be Sharon Escher? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Escher. I'm a parent and president of CFB AGT, which is the Association for Gifted and Talented, and I'm very happy to address you this evening. I want to thank CFB School Board of Trustees, Dr. Burns, Mr. Matthews, administration, for the opportunity to speak here tonight, as well as for your outstanding work and commitment to our schools, community, and I want to welcome the new members of your board. CFB, and I speak from my parent perspective, is an excellent school district with focus on serving the individual, from profoundly gifted to special ed. Administering this spectrum of demands with your quality provided throughout the past years and decades exemplifies this school district from others. My hopes are high to experience this level of excellence in many years to come, not only for all, but for every, and I cross every out and write it with each individual in our school system. My compliments tonight go also to CFB's Advanced Academic Services and their leaders and staff members for their dedication, their hard work and accomplishments towards high achievement and success for every of their GT students. I'm very excited about the implementation of the new elementary math pilot, and we would love to see, if possible, a district-wide school calendar become available. This would make event schedulings for our programs and meetings more effective, knowing what days will be open to our parents to attend. I wish you all a very deserved summer break and look forward to a very new, exciting 2017-18. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Catherine Carlin.
President Matthews, members of the board, Dr. Burns, and staff. My name is Catherine Carlin. I live at 1210 Derbyshire Lane in Carrollton. And in this, my final appearance at this podium as Council PTA President, I bring you more good news. I'm pleased to announce that all of our local PTA units have achieved active status with Texas PTA, and 64% of our PTAs had membership increase, a trend we hope to continue into the next year. Also, over the past couple of weeks, we have attended senior walks, where we have given $500 scholarships to a senior at each high school. This year, the deserving winners were Rocky Frade from Creekview High School, Yusek Rodriguez from Early College High School, Elizabeth Grandel from Newman Smith, Sydney LaSalle from Ranchview, and Alex Fantine from R.L. Turner. And then at our final meeting in May, we installed the new executive board of the Council PTA. The majority of this board are working parents, and attracting this demographic of volunteers was a goal that we had to be more inclusive and volunteer-friendly to the growing number of working parents that we have in our district. Among other changes, we changed our meeting times and paired meetings with events in order to attract these volunteers and make PTA more accessible. As a direct result of this initiative, I'm pleased to announce one final national PTA honor our council has received, the Jan Harp Domeny Diversity and Inclusion Award. This award recognizes PTAs that are dedicated to the needs of all families represented in the schools. It acknowledges PTAs that develop practices that are inclusive and equal for all families and that result in a positive change. We will receive this award at the National PTA Convention later this month. Paired with the National PTA Advocacy Award we received earlier this year, this completes the sweep of both National PTA awards a council may receive. In conclusion, as always, we are grateful for the continuing support our trustees and school district has shown PTAs, and we thank you for your support of every child with one voice. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Carlin, I believe I can speak on behalf of the entire board. We appreciate everything that you've done in your service to our PTA. Thank you very much. We will now proceed to our next agenda item, number 4B, Board Operations Consent Agenda. The consent agenda is a mechanism that the board uses to approve a number of routine items together with a single vote. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the public notice for this meeting includes the list of all consent agenda items, and the board has been provided ample information about these items in advance. Prior to any action taken on the consent agenda, board members may request withdrawal of individual items for clarification or discussion. Board members, are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda at this time?
President Matthews, I will need to recuse myself from a few of the items on the consent agenda. So I'd like to remove item 6B1A, election of personnel.
Okay, so you'll be recusing yourself from that vote, okay?
As well, remove 6B3V as in Victor.
Three, D. Oh, V, yeah, V, Victor.
Yeah, that's the extension of interlocal
Yes,
agreements.
okay. Ms. Valenzuela? Push the button when the little green light comes on.
They'll turn it on.
Okay.
Thank you.
President Matthews, I'd like to recuse myself from 6B, 3A, B, and C, as I was not officially present in the last meeting.
And that's the same for me.
Okay.
And I'd also like to recuse myself from 6B, 3, C, and D. Or, I'm sorry, 6B, I'm sorry, 6C and D. There we go.
Say that again.
So Board Operations 6, C and D on the next page.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's not on consent. Yeah, we'll get to, okay, okay. Mr. Shackman? Did you?
Do we want to do the full consent agenda approval first and then take the individual items? With that in mind, I would make the motion that other than the items that have been pulled, that we approve the consent agenda with all remaining items as presented.
Did we pull those items, or they're just refusing on the vote?
They're pulled. We'll pull them and then you can vote on
All
them.
right, very good. Okay. Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Klein. All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Yes, I do need a motion for the amended.
I would move for 6B1A, the election of personnel.
Okay, have a motion from Ms. Klein. 6B1A.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor, second, Mr. Ramos. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Okay.
A recuse.
We'll have a recusal.
Yeah, hold on a second. Yeah. Yeah, let Ms. Scribner, so she gets the actual vote. I think you had 6, correct? Are you? Or
The
It's election of personnel.
6A.
6.
6-1A.
1A.
Okay.
5, 4,
6,
none
4.
against.
6, 4, and 1.
You got it? Okay. So that takes care of it. 6B1A.
Okay.
3.
Can we do them all three at once?
Mr. Shackman,
Make a motion that we approve 6B3. First of all, I'd make a motion we could get rid of those numbering systems next year. Okay, that 6B3, A and B, which are the pre-meeting minutes and the regular meeting minutes, the last one, be approved as submitted.
what about C?
You want to include C?
Well,
You wanna-
no, because a lot of us
C is going to
weren't
be
there.
the special that has an amendment.
Right.
That's right. We're going to do that one separate.
Right, so we'll do 3, A, and B.
Yeah, so A and B together, and then you'll do C.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Mr. Ramos, all those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, that's 5.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the special meeting that there were only 2 trustees at, can we all vote, or how does that work?
Well, you're more or less approving the order as you saw presented before you.
Okay.
Yeah, that you're approving the election order as amended.
Right.
Mr. Shackman.
Right.
So I think it would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Matthews, administration caught basically an omission typo in the election order that was originally put in the packet. We have pulled that item, and I am recommending and making a motion that we approve the amended version of the special meeting minutes from the 17th.
Motion from Mr. Shackman, got a second from Mr. Ramos. All those in favor? Okay, that's 5.
Ms. Scribner, did you get those for the record?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
And the next one is,
That's it.
what about the one, Tara, the extension on the local
Oh,
agreement?
C, yeah, you got V,
Yep, we have
6, B, 3.
objective 3, V.
Item V.
Hmm?
Yes, item V.
Item V.
Need a motion.
Need a motion.
This is the one, consider extension of a local agreement between Dallas.
No,
right?
this is SROs. Dallas
Oh,
County Schools.
okay.
SROs, Dallas County.
Gotcha.
Matthews, I would make a motion that we approve 6B, 3B.
Motion been made by Ms. Klein.
I'd like to second that.
Have a second from Mr. Fleming. All those in favor, raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Open discussion for that after the motion is made. This item is an exciting item for our district, and we want to take a moment, and those of you who are here and those of you who will watch this on video, one of the things that we strive very hard as a board and our school administrators and our district works very hard to do is to support the idea of high achievement for all students with the idea that safety is absolutely critical. We are extremely proud to have a working relationship with the Farmers Branch Police Department, with the Carrollton Police Department, and with our Dallas County Sheriff's Department in our SRO, School Resource Officers Program. And the work that these officers do, there was a situation on the campus at Vivian Field where a young lady that had an unknown heart condition was down. The SRO officer being on site, that young lady is alive in our buildings today because of SROs. Our school resource officers do a great job, and I just wanted to take a moment not only to say thank you to them, but to say to our community, this is a program where we work to maximize security and safety in our buildings. So at one level, we want to say high achievement and high safety for all students, and we're really glad about that.
Thank you, Mr. Shackman, and I couldn't agree more. That's very well said. Okay, did we vote on that?
And now we
No.
vote.
You got a first and a
I
second.
got
You got the
a
two
motion and a second. Now let's vote. All those in favor, raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Any other discussion? That concludes our consent agenda. We move on to the next item, item number 6C. Consider selection of Director of Personnel Services, Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Members of the board, as you know, it's a busy time in the school system in the summer with selection of our staff. Every year we have obviously some turnover and attrition, and so we are bringing a person on board to our Personnel Services Department that I'm recommending to you tonight. You had her resume earlier, but I'd like for Miss Ashley Odom Brown to stand so the audience can see her. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her before you clap, and then you can clap some all you want. But Miss Odom Brown has been with the district 14 years, but really 21 if you count the 7 years she was a student. Okay. Now, that doesn't really factor in your compensation, but we wanted you to know that that does factor in that you were a student here. So, Ms. Brown is currently the principal at DeWitt Prairie Middle School, but as soon as possible, she will be assuming the duties in personnel, helping with the selection and hiring of our staff for the summer. So, board members, I present to you for selection, Director of Personnel Services, Ms. Ashley Odom Brown.
Board members, this item is marked for action. Do I have a motion regarding this item? Mr. Shackman?
I can do that. I would recommend that we accept the recommendation of the administration and proceed with the hiring of Ms. Brown. When the meeting ends, go to work. No.
I have a motion from Mr. Shackman. I have a second from Mr. Fleming. All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is 6 and, oh, that's right.
6-1
6, 1 recusal.
Got it.
Congratulations, Ms. Brown. You've come a long way since those times you spent in my office at R.L. Turner High School. And our next agenda item is number 6D, consider selection of secondary school principals, plural. Dr. Burns?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Matthews. Members of the board, as you know, it's crucial to get school started to have a principal on board on those campuses, right? And so tonight we have several, as Mr. Matthews said, principals, plural. And so we're going to recommend those separately and ask you to take action on each one separately. But we're going to start with, obviously, DeWitt Perry is without a principal currently with Ms. Brown's appointment to personnel. And so we're going to recommend to you tonight Mr. Adam Toy. Adam, would you stand up? And Adam has been with the school district 18 years. He's been in our fine arts department, and he's a teacher, an assistant principal, and now associate principal at Ranch View High School. And again, 18 years invested in our school system. So we present to you for recommendation Mr. Adam Toy for principal at DeWitt Perry Middle School.
Board members, this too is an action item. Do I have a motion? Ms. Klein?
Mr. Matthews, I would move that we accept the administration's recommendation of Adam Toy as principal at DeWitt Perry Middle School.
I have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? I have a second from Mr. Shackman. All those in favor, raise your hand. 6 and 1 recusal. Dr.
Let me
Burns?
continue with those items. And as many of you know, we have some, I'm going to say big shoes to fill, fast shoes to fill, if y'all know the history of Mr. Pouncey. Nobody got that? When I said fast
I
shoes?
got it.
Okay, all right. And so we're going to present that recommendation to you next. And our recommendation for the next principal at Newman Smith High School is Mr. Michael Areola. Michael, would you stand up? Michael, again, CFB, not as a student, but in his career as an educator here for the last 11 years, devoted to our goal of high achievement for each student. He's been serving currently at Early College High School. We just concluded their ceremonies for high school graduation and college, and so we are confident that he will be continuing that high expectation of achievement on to Newman Smith. Mr. Michael Ariel is our recommendation for principal Newman Smith High School.
Make it.
Board members, this is an action item. Do I have a motion? Mr. Ramos?
I say that we accept the administration's recommendation, Principal Michael Ariola at Newman Smith High School.
I have a second.
No, first.
Hmm?
He's your first.
I know. I'll have my first motion. Do I have a second motion to that motion? Thank you, Ms. Hrabachick. Second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Congratulations, Michael.
Okay, Mr. Matthews, as you can see, we now have a void at Early College High School, but we have people trained, ready to go, and we are very excited in this school system. We have people ready to step up and take those leadership roles. And so tonight, we're going to present to you Mr. Timothy Isley as the next principal of Early College High School. Mr. Isley, would you stand up? Mr. Isley has also spent the last 11 years of his career in CFB in multiple roles. And so if you add it up, that's 54 years of CFB service total together tonight. But Timothy Isley is our recommendation to you.
Once again, board members, this is an action item. Do I have a motion? Mr. Shackman?
I would move that we accept the recommendation of staff and select Timothy Isley as the next principal of Early College High School.
I have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Ms. Klein? All those in favor, raise your hand. votes 6. Congratulations, Tim. Okay, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually going to take a mini break. And when I say mini, I mean like 5 minutes. Okay? So, we're going to break at 8:57. We will reconvene at 9:03. At 9:03. Our next agenda item, folks, is item 6F. Consider all matters related to the what?
E.
Well, it says F on my script. Let's make it 6E.
E, there you go.
Yes, consider all matters related to the 2017-18 compensation plan, including approving the 2017-18 new hire salary schedule, 2017-2018 salary pay schedule. What?
That's not right. Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Read E first, update on budget.
Dr. Burns, never mind.
Never mind.
No, never mind what I just got through saying. I'm sure glad a lot of people left, just the hardcore people are here, but forgive me, okay? I'm still getting my feet wet in this deal, all right? Dr. Burns, go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Matthew, members of the board, your next item is E, update on the 17-18 budget. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Tillman in just a minute, but I do want to say that there's not a lot of new, which is not all bad in a legislative year, right? We obviously were hoping for a lot of good news, but no news is sometimes okay. Right now, where we are with the state's school funding, but again, back to thanking our community and their support for moving us forward with our resources with the TRE. Is that we're here tonight to give you a short update on the budget, but it has not changed a whole lot. So, Ms. Tillman.
Thank you. We are nearing the end of our budget process for 2017-18, and you'll be happy to know that there will be no PowerPoint this evening. If you're disappointed, no worries, there will be one in August. We wanted to give you just a brief update. The legislative session did end with a significant amount of activity over the weekend. Unfortunately, there was no major school reform that was able to make it through as we had hoped. We had been tracking 2 bills. That one was from the Senate, which was a major overhaul of the system. It really received no traction. However, House Bill 21 was progressing fairly well, which would have put approximately $1.9 billion into public school funding. Unfortunately, the Senate tacked a voucher onto that bill, and the House was unwilling to accept it with the voucher onto the bill. They did try to get a conference committee going this weekend, but that failed as well, so that bill died. With those 2 bills dying, there then was no major changes to school funding. The state did pass the budget bill. So within that bill, we are still trying to determine what all compromises were made over the weekend during the late night hours. We did receive a funding template update just yesterday, so we'll be taking that template and running our numbers, but from what we've seen, there won't be any substantial change from the estimates we provided you with last month. Another bill that we were tracking was related to Dallas County Schools, who is our current transportation vendor. The legislator did pass a bill that would allow Dallas County voters to decide whether or not to close the bus agency called Dallas County Schools. The bill has been placed with the governor's office for signature. If it is passed, voters will be able to make the final decision in November. We will speak more about transportation at a later agenda item. So our next steps in order to complete the budget, right now we're waiting on our final property values from both the Denton and Dallas appraisal districts. We don't receive those until July 25th, so when we get that number, that gives us the ability to finalize our tax revenue estimates as well as go through all of our truth and taxation calculation requirements and get our notices ready for our public hearing. So we'll get those July 25th. We'll finish up those estimates. We'll also incorporate any of the items that are approved this evening related to compensation. We'll incorporate those into the budget. And then on August 3rd, we'll bring you the final budget report. This is a critical date because this is the last opportunity we have to have real discussions and bring information to you related to the budget. because we will be proposing this evening that we have our hearing on August 24th. August 24th is really too late to make any changes, so we really encourage that if you have any information that you would like to receive related to the budget, if you'll send me that question in an email or give me a call, then we'll be sure and have that ready and available for you when we present our final budget on August 3rd. We want to thank you for your participation with the budget process throughout the year, and more information will come at later agenda items.
Thank you, Tanya. Now, our next agenda item is number 6. Oh,
Sure, you can ask,
Um,
you can ask more than one if you want to.
Well, and if it's coming later, apologies, I didn't see it. The legislature has the bill that everything looks like it's all final relative to TRS in districts that have over 1,000 employees. We are in that. What's happening, what's ramifications, and where's that headed?
With TRS Care or Active Care?
As I was looking at the notes, I don't recall. It
Okay.
was it's the 1,000 members.
I don't
It's the
believe the
Care.
Active Care bill made it through. The TRS Care bill did make it through, where the state's going to provide additional funding to the retirement benefits program. And we also believe they've required or going to be implementing an additional contribution from school districts. So we're still trying to get all the data on that. But I believe the Active Care bill did not make it through unless it got attached as an amendment to something else. But we're still
Okay.
getting all the information in right now.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Shaver, that's a great question, because we were tracking that because of the impact on us as a district and our employees. But right now, we don't believe that that's anywhere out there that it made any traction, but it would have had us scrambling depending on the date with insurance and probably driving our cost up. So right now, I think it's, well, we haven't seen it, so we're hoping that it's not in there hidden somewhere, so.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Tanya. Our next agenda item is 6F, consider all matters related to the 2017-2018 compensation plan, including approving the 2017-2018 new hire salary schedule, 2017-2018 salary pay schedules, and the proposed compensation adjustments. Dr. Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews, and members of the board. Before I turn it over to Ms. Tillman, I do want to say for the audience that this board, unlike many school boards in Texas, make a decision to approve the compensation piece, so our employees have that going into the school. A lot of districts wait till later, and it has to be retro. And so this board decided that several years ago, and I know our employees thank you for that, and also our payroll, because it is quite the task to get all that done and transferred over, and that's why we present this every year prior to the budget. So, Ms. Tillman?
Thank you. We believe that our budget should be a reflection of what we value, and we value our amazing staff here at CFB. So as we've held budget discussions over the year, the one thing that has come from every group, from parents to our district improvement council to our budget work studies, the focus has been on making improvements to our compensation package. As we've looked at the market in the area and we've monitored DFW, we've all seen the information and know that we're not where we want to be in terms of our beginning teacher pay. We're on the low end of our surrounding districts. And so what we are proposing this evening is the board to consider providing our teacher and auxiliary staff with a 4% pay increase, our professional and administrative staff with a 3% increase. This contribution would increase our operating budget by approximately $5.8 million. Our tax ratification election is what has given us the ability to offer this increase. The 4% we believe will be slightly above market. We're still waiting to hear from some districts, but most districts have been in the range of 2 to 3%. So this will help us make a little bit of movement. We're not going to be able to get there in 1 year, but it will definitely help us go in the direction we want to go. New teacher pay would go from $50,750 to $52,425. Our goal is to get to $55,000 in our Vision 2020 plan by 2020. We've also provided you with an amendment. It was in front of each of you. We made a slight adjustment on one of our pay schedules that we're asking you to approve. It was 33 cents, I believe. We wanted to make something agree to another schedule, so your PA2 numbers that were placed in front of you are slightly different from what was posted. So this evening, we're asking that you consider authorizing and approving the related pay schedules that have been presented to you as amended and authorizing across-the-board pay increases for all eligible staff, including a 4% teacher and auxiliary pay increase, as well as a 3% for professional and administrative staff.
Thank you. Board members, this is an item marked for action. Do I have a motion regarding this item? Ms. Klein.
I was going to make a motion to approve item 6F. Consider all matters related to the 2017-2018 compensation plan.
Have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? As amended, yes. Have a second? Second, Ms. Valenzuela. All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous.
We don't know if everybody got a chance yet, so.
When we call the motion, we get a second, then we ask for discussion. A question that I wanted to ask, and the new hire schedule that went from 50 to 52 and change, is that chart that was in our board book, is that the chart proposed for all teachers?
No, sir, that is only the entry point.
Okay,
if you-
so if a teacher at 10 years happens to come with the district with 10 years' experience versus somebody in our district that has 10 years' experience, the person that has 10 years' experience could be making less.
The person that has been with CFB for 10 years will be making more.
Will be making more. I was
Yes.
trying to look at that and the various
Yes.
numbers and the pieces. Okay.
And we can bring back the information that Mr. Roderick presented last month that gave the comparison. It would be similar. If a
Okay.
person is coming into the district with 10 years, they will definitely not be paid what someone who's been here for 10 years is making.
Got it. Okay, I wanted to make sure that was clear in my mind, because we certainly want to value not only the new people coming in, but we want to value our experienced staff.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Shackman, thank you for pointing that out, because I think we always want to take the opportunity to explain to people is that the time in CFB is more valuable than time outside of CFB. And that's the best way, I think, to say it, is so 10 years outside CFB is not going to make what 10 years in CFB is and what we've trained and what we've invested you. And that's what the schedule is designed to do. But I'm glad you pointed out, because sometimes you get confused because they think that's what we're paying our 10-year people. But they've been in 10 years CFB, it's a lot different than that. So thank you for pointing that out. So.
Any other discussion or questions? Our next agenda item is,
Now you need to vote. Now you need to vote.
all those in favor, raise your hand. We've already had a motion and a second of item 6F. The vote is unanimous.
Ms. Scribner, did you get everybody's hands? Yeah.
Our next agenda item is 6G, consider all matters related to the 2017-28 compensation plan, including proposed stipend and supplemental pay schedules. Dr. Barton.
Mr. Matthews and members of the board, again, I want to, again, praise the board because you've asked us to make sure that we continue to review all of our compensation schedules, which includes stipends and things that are supplemental pays, if you will, in addition to their compensation package. And so each year we look at those, we try to stay competitive in the market, as well as seeing what the cost of doing business is with those. And so I'll turn it over to Ms. Tillman for a little bit more. But that's why we bring this to you, is because we think it is important to review all of our compensation for our staff. So, Ms. Tillman?
Thank you. During our 2015-16 and 16-17 budget cycles, we reviewed our fine arts and athletic stipends, and we made adjustments to those areas to better align with the DFW market. And so this year, we focused on all other major stipends. Mr. Ariola, I believe, has left, but he actually performed the study for us. I'm not sure if he volunteered or not, but we'll use the term volunteer. And he actually went out and surveyed 10 school districts and gathered all the data for us related to stipends. And so the areas that we actually have looked at that we would like to propose adjustments for include our bilingual, master's, and doctorate stipend. One of the things Mr. Ariola noted as he looked at these 10 different websites is that the one stipend that everybody advertised was the bilingual stipend, and that's an area that we were below market on. Actually, Frisco, Garland, Grapevine, Richardson, all are at $4,000. We were currently at $3,085 for our bilingual stipend. We haven't made an adjustment to this stipend since 07-08, and at that time, we only adjusted it by $85. So this evening, we're proposing that we adjust our bilingual stipend to $4,000, which would better put us in line with neighboring districts. In addition, the master's stipend, we're proposing $1,800 for the master's. We're currently at $1,545. This also has not been adjusted since 07-08, where we made a $45 adjustment. Looking at the market on the masters, we've been below HEB, Plano, and Denton. And then looking at our doctorate stipend of $2,470, that one, same time frame of 07-08, was raised $70, and we haven't adjusted these stipends since that time. We're looking at $2,470 going to $3,600. The total impact on the budget would be just under $300,000. All of our stipends together are $3.6 million, so we would be raising our stipend budget to approximately $3.9 million district-wide. So this evening, we're asking that you consider approving the stipend schedule as presented with the adjustments along with our supplemental pay schedule.
Thank you, Ms. Tillman. Board members, this is an action item. Do I have a motion? Mr. Shackman.
As I move that we accept the stipend schedule as proposed by administration.
Have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Ms. Roger, second. All those, well, before we vote on that, we're going to see if anybody has anything they'd like to add. Any discussions or comments?
May I just ask, do you plan on voting on the supplemental schedule separately? There's two items, the stipend and supplemental pay schedule.
Separately would be cleaner for the record.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Then let me amend my motion to say the motion is to approve the supplemental payments first.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the supplemental payments first by Mr. Shackman. Correction? No? Do I have a second?
H.
I have a second from Ms. Rabachi.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you surveyed, did you look at the other stipends, or were you just focusing on these stipends?
We looked at all stipends, but these were the three that we felt like would make the most impact, and we wanted to focus in on these three. The others were more closely aligned.
Just for clarity, because I know Sharon's trying to track it over there, so are you're making a motion to approve item H, supplemental pay, or G?
No, they're.
One-time compensation, okay, just
G,
to make sure, because they're kind of, I'm with Mr. Shackman, they're kind of got tied together, so you're
Yeah.
doing G, which is the compensation
It
plan,
says in supplemental
pay schedule.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
two
But
different
there's a different-
supplemental
There's two
pay
different-
items.
We have
confused
the
if there's
one-time
different
supplemental pay is a
Yeah.
different,
It's different
matter.
from the supplemental pay schedule,
Exactly.
yes.
So that's different than H,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
to make sure everybody
yeah,
knows.
this was the supplemental pay schedules.
any other questions or comments? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
And now, Mr. Matthews, I would do the other part of that and say we would make the motion to accept the proposed stipend schedule.
A motion from Mr. Shackman to approve the stipend schedule. Do I have a second?
It's G, we just did them separately.
We just
We
separated
broke G out into two parts.
two parts. Well, we just made it two parts. Ms. Valenzuela? Thank you very much. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Thank you. And now, our next agenda item is item 6H. Consider all matters related to one-time supplemental payments.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Matthews, and Ms. Tillman will explain. This is a little different in that the board has operated with longevity and performance pay, and that's what this concerns, and so you'll be taking that as a separate item. So, Ms. Tillman?
Yes. One of the primary ways we've chosen to promote what we value in the district is to offer performance and longevity pay. Our longevity pay program began with our first payment in 2008-9. At each 5-year anniversary point, employees receive $100 per year of service. And then we have also recently added, at 20 years of service, you get an additional $500. Our performance pay began in 2013-14, but it was for service and performance related to 2011-12 results. Since that time, we've been able to tighten the window on that so that the performance pay is the following year versus having that long payment gap. So now our 17-18 payment would be the result of 16-17 results. It would be made in the spring rather than the fall. Our longevity payment is made by December before our staff gets out for the break. The payment for our performance is related to our ERG results. So if the district is in the 95th percentile, which is the top 10, eligible employees receive $500. If we're in the 90th percentile, which is the top 20, then eligible employees would receive $250. The performance pay budget is approximately $1.2 million, and that would be if we hit the $500 mark. And our longevity pay typically runs between $550,000 and $600,000, with 400 to 500 employees receiving that each year. So this evening, we ask that the board authorize the resolution to authorize the described longevity pay and collective performance pay for the 2017-18 school year as presented.
This is an action item, board members. Do I have a motion?
Making all the motions. Everybody keeps looking at me.
That's okay.
I move that we accept the one-time supplemental payments for 2017 and 18, including adoption of a board resolution of said schedule.
Have a motion from Mr. Shackman. Do I have a second? Have a second from Ms. Klein. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Our next agenda item is number 6I. I didn't know if that was an I or an L. Consider time, place, and location of a public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate for the 2017-2018 budget year. Dr. Burns?
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Members of the board, Ms. Tillman mentioned this earlier, so this is the official action on that. So, Ms. Tillman?
We are proposing that our budget hearing happen on August 24th. At this time, we would present our final information, allow the public time to comment, and we would be asking the board to adopt the budget and the tax rate at that time. August 24th is really the earliest we're able to get the budget ready. With the receiving of the tax rates in July 25th, and we have some timelines we have to meet to get the notice in the paper. So this is typically the first opportunity that we can have everything ready and meet all of our timelines.
Okay. This is an action item. Do I have a motion? Ms. Klein?
I would make a motion that we approve item I, consider time, place, and location of a public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate for the 2018 budget year.
I have a motion from Ms. Klein. Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Robaczyk. Any discussion?
Do we need to also include that, we said August 24th, do we need to say here in this location and at 7 p.m. or whatever that?
It will be at 6 p.m.
It will be at 6 p.m., okay.
in the administration building.
Okay, in this location.
That's a
Yeah,
good
good point. Yeah.
The place and location is important.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, that's unanimous. Our next agenda item is number 6J. Consider all matters for transportation services, including award of RFP 17-04-261-1 for student transportation services and entering into interlocal agreement with Dallas County Schools. Dr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Member of the board, and for our audience there, as many of you know, it's not a secret that Dallas County Schools has been in the news regarding transportation and their existence even in the legislative discussions. But I want to commend our staff for not waiting to see what would happen, but being prepared. So I'm going to take this time to commend Ms. Tillman and her team for being on top of things, even though we really don't know everything yet. We are always trying to put the district in the best position possible in light of some adverse action happening. So, Ms. Tillman?
Thank you. As we know, in the spring, information related to the financial condition of Dallas County School began to surface. When this information started surfacing, we decided to go ahead and issue an RFP so that we could determine what the cost difference would be for the district if, in the event that we wanted to make a change from Dallas County Schools. With that in mind, in April, we issued the RFP. We solicited and we received 3 responses back. We selected a committee of 11 employees, which included our athletics, fine arts staff, principals from campuses, so that we could get their input on the service that had been provided to them by Dallas County Schools. The results of the RFP were included in your packet. As you can see from the results, we had Durham, who did not provide pricing. They said that we would have to negotiate pricing once we chose them as the vendor. So there wasn't really anything to evaluate. They also needed at least till January, but really would prefer August, so they needed a year to implement, and we needed to come up with our own buses. So that was one option with Durham. Our other choice was First Student. And you saw from the results, between the bid between Dallas County School pricing and First Student, we're looking at an increase of $2.5 million, and that does not include buses. First Student could start in August. However, that was only if we could provide facility fuel, buses, associated equipment, radio, communication, infrastructure, cameras, GPS, crossing arms, and replace any buses that exceed 12 years of age. So you can see our options were limited based upon the RFP, and the cost will be significant. We knew that the cost would be higher because Dallas County School does have an advantage with the tax that they distribute among districts, as well as the state funding that they have the ability to submit our mileage on behalf of the district. Vendors don't have that ability to submit and get reimbursement from the state. So that gave them about a $2 million advantage without looking at anything, but it looks like they then still have another $500,000 in addition to that. So that's what we were looking at. So neither of the other vendors were really an option for us for 17-18. So our committee is recommending that we do authorize our staff to work on an interlocal agreement for services provided through 17-18. With the legislative action pending right now, one of our concerns was trying to change to Dallas County Schools is that we could potentially lose our opportunity to have access to any of the assets that we have been contributing towards over the years. So we really feel like we need to be a part of the dissolution process with DCS, but we'll certainly begin working on what our plan will be for 18-19. This really gave us a good idea of what is actually available for us. Buses is a big problem in terms of us changing, because we don't currently own any of our buses and our fleet is really old. So even if we do obtain our Dallas County Schools fleet, we're going to have a significant investment that we're going to have to make yearly to begin replacing some of our aging fleet.
Thank you. This is an action item, board members. Do I have a motion? Ms. Kline?
I would make a motion to approve item 6J, consider all matters for transportation services, including award of RFP 1704-2611 for student transportation services and entering into interlocal agreement with Dallas County Schools.
I have a motion from Ms. Kline, second from Mr. Ramos. Any discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard that Capel was leaving. Do you know, Ms. Tillman, who they might have picked? So they negotiated, they didn't just take the blank?
pricing, because we did receive some information on their pricing.
Yeah, they did receive, their RFP went out about 2 months prior to ours, which gave Durham time, they thought, to execute a contract, get it in place, provide services for 2017-18. They were able to negotiate a buyout of their buses. I think their fleet is about 50 buses for a fair market value, and I don't know the exact number that they spent, but they made a heavy investment. Unfortunately, as it stands, they would not be part of the disillusionment process. So, the
That's okay.
disillusion process, not disillusionment.
Maybe we could trade out for some younger buses. So what would be helpful the next time we discuss this is if we could have a list of the buses that are currently running in CFB to kind of, y'all may know the age, but I know the ones that used to say CFB all now say Dallas County Schools. So that means they're all some certain age, but, and then also, I heard one of the original legislative ones before it got tacked on, bless you, was that the ownership of the buses was all going to DISD. Did that, I guess, change when it got tacked on, or?
The amendment that I saw said that would be decided by the committee that will be established, but it would likely be based on your current buses that are assigned, the fleet that's assigned to the districts right now. And then at one point, I also saw it could potentially be based on your share of, I guess, of DCS on the number of students that they're serving. But the last thing I saw was that the committee would be deciding how to distribute all of the assets.
And then my last question, any idea where DISD is going, since they're very supportive of this dissolution of Dallas County Schools?
We have made contact with DISDs, and we're going to be staying in touch with them in terms of what actions they're going to be taking.
Do you know if they might be planning to operate it themselves? Or no telling?
I don't think they've given that information.
We know they executed an interlocal agreement in March with Dallas County Schools.
Oh, okay.
For the year, yeah, they'll definitely be with
They're
them.
probably on the same plan that we are.
Okay.
This last year out and see where they fall. They do get first crack at the administration building, or all real property that Dallas County Schools has.
Well, the interesting thing is they sold a lot of it and are paying rent on it. So they dumped a lot of their property for the Dallas Morning News, if you believe everything you read. Thank you.
Any other discussion, board members? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. Vote unanimous. Thank you. Our next agenda item is number 6K. Consider approval of board meeting and board work study session dates for 2017, 2018. Dr. Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Members of the board, as you know, the calendar is extremely important. And the first one, of course, you approve is the school calendar, but then your own calendar for meetings, work studies, the different meetings that you attend as board members, we tried to capture in this document. Certainly, you could change it during the year if something came up, so it's not like it's in stone after you approve, but it stays consistent with your policy of first Thursday for your regular meetings, with the exception of January. The work studies typically fall on the third, 4 work studies falling on the third Thursdays, and then obviously our team of 8, which is required, scheduled in October. So it just kind of lets you get a handle on your schedule and calendar for next year, and so we like to every year bring this to you and at least get your go-ahead on this one, and then if something comes out later, we can bring it back. But so this is the calendar that we are presenting to you as your board calendar of events for 17-18.
This is an action item, board members. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve K, consider approval of board meeting and work study session dates for 2017, 2018.
Have a motion from Mr. Fleming. Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Valenzuela. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor, raise your hand. That vote is unanimous. Our next agenda item is closed session. However, I understand there are no matters for discussion in closed session tonight. Therefore, we're going to go ahead on down to board agenda item number 9A, comments regarding posted agenda items. Do any of you, ladies and gentlemen on the board, have any comments you wish to make at this time? Ms. Robachik.
Thank you. Well, my comment is actually about the agenda. As we stumbled over some of the letters and the numbers tonight, and I've seen it happen in the past, you know, while we have a break.
I apologize for that.
That's not just you, but it's difficult also as someone who has sat in the audience for a long time to follow the agenda. I'm wondering if while we have some time over the summer, I'm sure these agendas take hours upon hours to prepare. And you might already be starting on August, I don't know, but maybe we could look at a easier format that's more, I guess, transparent to the community and those sitting in the audience, and even us having to call out 6B, 3C, V.
Amen.
Mr. Matthews,
Ms. Klein.
I think I heard Ms. Kravachik volunteer to chair a subcommittee of the board.
You know what? I would be happy to do that.
But I would
So
just,
appointed.
I would just, well, you have to appoint the whole subcommittee, and I am not volunteering.
Well, she's the chairman. I'll let
But,
her give me some feedback.
Yeah.
Well, but I was just going to point out, when we look at the structure of it, 6A, audience for guests, B, consent agenda, and then it kind of rolls on from there. I think the part that is hard is the objective 1, objective 2, objective 3, objective 4, but we're trying to list them to ensure they fall somewhere in our goals.
Well, and they do, and that's great, but maybe it's just the numbering or how we
Yeah, how you put 'em in.
organize it to that. And I think that is great to organize it
Or
that
maybe
way.
she could work with a staff team.
Yeah, let me make a recommendation, board members, because, you know, we've had several versions of how board agendas evolve over the years. So let us draft something up and let you, Ms. Hrbachik, if you'd like to be the one that kind of gives us some advice as a board member.
I would love
See
to.
what you like. In the new one, that would be good because you don't have the curse of knowledge. You haven't been doing it for a while, and so you'd be a good, fresh set of eyes.
Of knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. That's the term when we assume you know everything and we're the only ones that know it because we deal with it all the time. So we'll do that and you can give us some feedback on it and then we'll get one prepared for August. The good news is we got a couple of months to look at that. Some of the things are easily changed. Some of it is required in the law a little bit about how we present it. But we'll certainly do everything we can to make it more user-friendly. I think that's a great suggestion. So we'll be glad to do that and I will let you be a set of eyes to see how it is.
Thank you.
Ms. Klein?
Different comment of the agenda item is I have a conflict on September 21st, but I can make it here if I need to. But I would ask maybe if the staff could look at maybe September 14th and the other board members. I apologize for my conflict, but if that would be possible for the first work study in August, we could discuss it. I realize it's already been approved.
Okay. Is a proposed alternative date?
As a proposed date, just see if it possibly works. If it doesn't, I'll make it back.
Then, if you'd like, then we'll bring it back on another agenda item to consider changing that date and then see how that
well,
works for the
only
board.
if it's not inconvenient
Yeah.
or if it doesn't mess
Yeah.
up something.
So, yeah, we'll be glad to see how, check your calendars, see how that works.
Did everybody understand what she said? Okay. Mr. Jackman?
2 meetings ago, I had asked that we get together some sort of a definitive action plan, steps that would ensure that we get all of the students who are qualified for free and reduced lunch into the system. I know there's some work on that, and maybe we would even get some information during our summer break or whatever. Just want to make sure that when we hit the ground running in August, we may have had as many as 500 to 700 kids for a couple of weeks, and then the numbers got smaller. But I want to make sure, this board member wants to make sure that within the first couple of days of school, we have all the kids that are qualified for breakfast and free and reduced lunch in the system. I know the staff does too, And so just any feedback that we can get that helps us to know that we're doing that and supplementing the online program with some other process to make sure that everybody has access.
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. Shagman, for reminding that. We are working on several plans, because there is some legislation regarding lunch, and so that, and we'll have something together, and hopefully August, really be able to tell the public and the board what we're doing.
Great.
With next year, and being able to make sure that, just as you said, making sure no kid goes hungry.
Yeah.
At the start of school, so.
Right.
But I can assure you that the nutrition team is working diligently. to find the
Appreciate
best plan.
that. I know they're working. I know that's our goal for all of us. Mr. Matthews, the only other thing is I'm going to request that we agendize a discussion action item to talk about term limits at our August meeting as an action item.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Wait, I'm sorry, I have one more. And you had also, I think in the same conversation, talked about the online registration process, separate from the free and reduced lunch, right? You had questions about just in general, the online.
I was specifically asking about the process for free and reduced lunch that converted this last school year, the current school year, to
Okay.
the online registration only. And I'm sure we didn't intend it, but what we discovered is an unintended consequence is that a lot of the people who are most needy didn't have access to internet, didn't have access to the process. And so we just want to make sure that if we're reverting back to sending letters home like we used to do, I remember getting those every year where the kids are in, school and all that, whatever it is we can do to make sure that kids are having access.
Anybody else? Comments, discussion? Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to make a couple of comments. First of all, in the next month or so, I will be asking some of you to be on certain committees that we have going forth the next school year. And I would hope that you would consider, if you can, and have the time to do that. Secondly, I would like to personally thank you for your confidence in re-electing me in this spot. And I promise that I will do the best I can to not only serve the district, but to serve y'all in this capacity. And I will try to get better each and every meeting that we have. And finally, I would like to welcome our two new ladies to the board. I think that I can just see the makings of an outstanding school board for this coming school year. And I think y'all bring a wealth of knowledge and expertise in lots of various areas, and I think this is going to be a really solid school board. And I do congratulate you on your victories, and I want to personally welcome you to this horseshoe. And hearing no other comments, seeing no other hands raised for comments, we have reached the end of our agenda, and we are adjourned at 9:46